Hey everyone, Laz here, Methuselah Mindset. Welcome. Very happy to talk to you about one of my favourite subjects today, and that is the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell as it is known. And specifically, I want to draw your attention to a recently released review by the National Library of Medicine, which is an official website of the United States government. And look, it would be remiss of me before I deep dive into this without giving you a little overview of what the mitochondria is. And look, in a nutshell, it is basically an organelle that sits within inside our cells, and it carries out an amazing function. It basically takes in all of our food, all right, fats, sugars, proteins. It combines those with oxygen, and out the other side comes energy, ATP, all right? So the official definition of mitochondria: they are membrane-bound cell organelles that generate most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. Chemical energy produced by the mitochondria is stored in a small molecule called adenosine triphosphate, ATP. In addition to producing energy, mitochondria store calcium for cell signaling activities, generate heat, and mediate cell growth and death. And a couple of fun facts about the good old mitochondria. We have more than 100,000 trillion mitochondria in our body, and each mitochondria contains 17,000 little assembly lines for making the ATP. It's a pretty large operation. Mitochondria are where our metabolism happens. When not working properly, you can suffer from fatigue, memory loss, pain, and rapid aging. So they're pretty damn important. And here's a couple of cool facts as well. The best way to look after your mitochondria is, number one, eat a healthy whole food diet, and number two, exercise. There's a surprise, all right? Especially high intensity interval training. Studies have shown that they have proven to increase the efficiency and function of your mitochondria, and also strength and resistance training, which increases the amount of muscle and number of mitochondria in your body, so your metabolism increases. Basically, muscle burns 7 times as many calories as fat. And if you were wondering what one looks like, here's our little mitochondria right there. All right, guys, let's dive into this article. Now, spoiler alert, this is a big read, but I absolutely implore you, because this is really important and fascinating stuff, to click on that link and do please read the whole article. You're going to need to put some time aside. It's a big, long review that they've done. It's incredibly comprehensive. But what I'm going to do today is I will take you through the introduction, and then I will read the conclusion, and that'll give you a good insight into what's included in this amazing review. Mitochondria. It is all about energy. Mitochondria play a key role in both health and disease. Their function is not limited to energy production, but serves multiple mechanisms varying from iron and calcium homeostasis to the production of hormones and neurotransmitters such as melatonin. Now, I'll just give you a quick word of warning too. There's some rather large, long medical terms here. I'm sure I'm going to stumble on some of them, so apologies in advance. They enable and influence communication at all physical levels through interaction with other organelles, the nucleus, and the outside environment. The literature suggests crosstalk mechanisms between mitochondria and circadian clocks, the gut microbiota, and the immune system. They might even be the hub supporting and integrating activity across all these domains. Hence, they might be the missing link in both health and disease. Mitochondrial dysfunction is related to metabolic syndrome, neuronal diseases, cancer, cardiovascular and infectious diseases, and inflammatory disorders. In this regard, diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, chronic fatigue syndrome, and chronic pain are discussed. This review focuses on understanding the mitochondrial mechanisms of action that allow for the maintenance of mitochondrial health and the pathways towards dysregulated mechanisms. Although mitochondria have allowed us to adapt to changes over the course of evolution, in turn, evolution has shaped mitochondria. Each evolution-based intervention influences mitochondria in its own way. The use of psychological stress triggers tolerance to the stressor, achieving adaptability and resistance. This review describes strategies that could recover mitochondrial functioning in multiple diseases, providing a comprehensive, root cause-focused, integrative approach to recovering health and treating people suffering from chronic diseases. So let me fast forward to the conclusion. And again, guys, I hate to repeat myself, but I implore you to please read the entire article and the review. It's absolutely groundbreaking stuff. Conclusion. And I totally resonated with this, and I'm sure some of you will too. Modern life has come with novel risk factors. Although our adapted brain produced the modern and novel environment, our immune system and metabolism have not yet adapted to those new circumstances. Many novel risk factors such as sitting time, lack of physical activity, food abundance, sleep disturbances, and lack of micronutrients and environmental factors such as pollution can produce severe mitochondrial stress damage and dysfunction. The metabolic disturbances caused by mitochondrial dysfunction and damage caused by the aforementioned risk factors are hallmarks of most, if not all, of the metabolic, immune, neurological and infectious diseases and CNCDs in general. CNCDs, chronic non-communicable diseases. And again, when you deep dive, it goes into much more detail on this. But what it's saying is, and when you think about this, this is common sense, okay? All of the things that have evolved in our bodies, all right, over time, are still the same as they were just a few thousand years ago. And just a few thousand years ago, guess what we were doing? Okay? We weren't sitting behind desks. We were outside and we were moving, always moving. Whether we were hunting herds and following herds and hunting herds for food, foraging in the forest for berries and fruit, getting water from fresh creeks and lakes and what have you, we were always moving. We were nomads for thousands of years. We were always moving, and hence our bodies, all of our systems, evolved to adapt and service that moving being that we were. Fast forward to now, and what happens? Okay, so many of us spend 8 hours a day stationary, sitting behind a desk. Okay, now can you see the disconnect here? Okay, our bodies, they don't know that, this is 2023 and it's quite normal to sit behind a desk for 8 hours looking at a screen. Yeah. All right, guys, I will continue. I'll jump down off my soapbox. Risk factors and consequences can be prevented and or treated considering that one of the main pathways is the switch from OXPHOS to glycolysis. Now, I won't deep dive into this, but OXPHOS is a fundamental mitochondrial process linking the tricarboxylic acid cycle to the production of ATP, making the energy. And also glycolysis also produces energy. Directed by mTOR. Okay, that's a whole nother subject. The chronic Warburg effect leads to proliferative inflammatory or fibrotic states, increasing the intracellular abundance of biomass. In this study, we described the immunometabolic mechanism that impedes healthy OXPHOS. That's the whole process to make the ATP. Evolutionary medicine provides us with mitohormetic strategies. These are simple, low-risk and economically cheap strategies based on enhancing human molecular responses through epigenetic mechanisms. Intermittently applied and in the right combination, they provide powerful tools to facilitate mitochondrial health through several pathways. As mitochondrial functioning is essential in understanding health and disease, the use of hormetic interventions protecting or recovering normal mitochondrial functioning could result in widespread health benefits and possibly be effectual in primary and secondary chronic disease prevention. These so-called hormetic strategies support immune system efficiency and an anti-inflammatory phenotype, along with metabolic and neurological plasticity. Avoiding metabolic glycolytic states and switching to OXPHOS is especially described in fasting. Other promising hormetic strategies are exposure to intermittent therapeutic cold or heat, nutrition as medicine with regard to mitochondrial health is evidenced by numerous studies related to the beneficial effects of phytochemical-rich food and fermented food items. Breathing techniques, including therapeutic intermittent hypercapnia and hypoxia, can even serve as quick wins in people suffering from pain and fatigue. All these robust strategies trigger evolutionary conserved mechanisms, which in turn make Homo sapiens more resilient and thus resistant to the toxic effects of modern life. Mechanisms behind each hormetic trigger strategy are not fully understood, and further research is needed, not only in vitro and in vivo, but also in clinical settings with humans. So in summary, they are doing amazing research and analysis and trying to work out, hey, with all these different diseases and they're right across the scale, as I mentioned before, what part does the mitochondria play in this? Because they have a huge suspicion, and they strongly suspect that it plays a huge role in this. All right. So the great news is they're doing amazing research and finding out amazing stuff, as this review has just shown. Okay, and they've given you a whole bunch of strategies that they're looking at, with the hot and the cold and the breathing techniques and what have you. But what they all agree on, and what I said right at the start, is what they absolutely uncategorically 100% know right now, is that the best two things that you can do for your mitochondria right here as we sit: healthy, whole food diet, okay, and exercise. And obviously they've done some studies that show that the high intensity interval training produces some great results, and strength and resistance training. Healthy food and exercise are absolutely 100% your best defenses against all of these nasties and helping to support your mitochondria. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. Love, respect one another. Hey, get yourselves on outside and get moving, eh? Peace out.